Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, nochmal ein herzliches Willkommen heute zum zweiten Tag der Klausur der CSU im Deutschen Bundestag. Ich freue mich ausdrücklich, dass wir einen großen europäischen Freund heute begrüßen dürfen, den Ministerpräsidenten der Slowakei, Eduard Heger. Lieber Eduard, es ist uns eine ganz große Ehre, dass du zu uns gekommen bist, mit uns die aktuellen Themen und Herausforderungen diskutiert hast. Wir sind dir sehr, sehr dankbar, dass du in den vergangenen Monaten und Jahren immer unsere gemeinsame Position zu einem starken Europa auch mit bekräftigt hast und gemeinsam mit uns auch den Weg gehst, dass wir das Interesse haben, neue Länder an die Europäische Union heranzuführen, dass wir Formate schaffen wie neue Partnerschaften auch unterhalb einer Vollmitgliedschaft, um die schnelle Chance haben, Staaten an unsere europäische Gemeinschaft heranzuführen. Wir sind dir sehr, sehr dankbar, dass du die Ukraine sehr schnell unterstützt hast mit Waffenlieferungen, S-300 Flugabwehr. Du warst einer der ersten Länder, die sich bereit erklärt haben, die militärische Unterstützung der Ukraine mit zu organisieren. Und wir sind auch jetzt in engem Austausch untereinander, wenn es darum geht, weitere Waffenlieferungen zu ermöglichen. Der Ringtausch ist auch ein Thema, das uns teilt mit der Slowakei, das heißt Ersatz von Militärgerät aus Deutschland für weitere Lieferungen der Slowakei in der Ukraine. Ich will an der Stelle auch ausdrücklich sagen, dass ich das kritisiere, dass die Bundesrepublik Deutschland zu langsam ist bei der Erfüllung ihrer Zusagen, was die Ringtäusche anbelangt, den Ringtausch anbelangt. Zu Recht gibt es Beschwerden aus Polen. Wir sind, glaube ich, das einzigste Land an dieser Stelle, die Bundesrepublik Deutschland, wo der Unterschied zwischen Zusagen und dann realen Lieferungen so groß ist. Die Bundesregierung hat hier einen erheblichsten Nachholbedarf. Es muss jetzt schneller noch geliefert werden und die zugesagten Waffensysteme auch für den Ringtausch müssen zur Verfügung gestellt werden. Darauf hat die internationale Gemeinschaft ein besonderes Auge, ob auch dann die Verteidigungsfähigkeit unserer Partnerländer gegeben bleibt durch die Ringtauschoption. Das waren Zusagen, die vom Bundeskanzler erfolgt sind. Die müssen entsprechend auch eingehalten werden können. Wir haben uns heute intensiv darüber ausgetauscht, wie wir auch wirtschaftlich enger zusammenarbeiten können. Die Slowakei ist enger Partner in wirtschaftlichen Beziehungen, gerade was die Automobilindustrie anbelangt. Wir wollen diese enge Partnerschaft auch in Zukunft weiter pflegen. Und lieber Eduard, du hast in einem Interview deutlich gesagt, vor kurzem wörtlich, Deutschland ist dir sehr nahe. Wir sind dir sehr verbunden, dass du dieses klare Commitment auch so offen, deutlich formulierst. Du hast eine sozialdemokratische Regierung abgelöst, die das Land ins Abseits geführt hätte. Das wissen wir auch besonders zu schätzen. Du bist Teil unserer Parteienfamilie in Europa und von daher einer der erfolgreichen Ministerpräsidenten der EVP. Nochmal herzlichen Dank, dass du bei uns bist.
Ja, vielen Dank für die Einladung. Ich freue mich sehr, dass ich hier sein kann. It's really wonderful that in these difficult times, we can have relationship like this, very close one, very open, very honest. Because honestly, to really find the solutions to this difficult crisis that Europe is going through over the last 2-3 years, it needs to be very close to each other and help each other. That's why I stress out always two values that we operate on, and that is unity and solidarity. And we saw it during the pandemic, but we see it also during the war in Ukraine. We are a neighboring country, and we say, out of our own experience, that we need to have a strong Europe. And in order to have a strong Europe, we need to have strong countries, and of course, Germany, as the really one of the leading countries, needs to be very strong. And we support it, and as you said, Slovakia has been very close to Germany for decades. I mean, the German automotive or the automotive industry started with the German investor in Slovakia, and ever since it's been developed, and now we have many other world brands that are working in Slovakia, and that's why Slovakia is the biggest producers, biggest producers of cars per capita. But economic connections between our countries is one of the areas. The other one is the values, because both of our countries are very strong promoters, or our governments are very strong promoters of rule of law, of freedom, of human dignity, because these are the basic principles of any democracy. We have to very closely watch for these values, and that's why our government introduced a very strong anti-corruption program and gave total freedom to the police, to the prosecutors, to the judges after the previous governments to really investigate all criminality within the state and also within the society, to grow the trust toward the state, toward the government, and toward the future of Slovakia. But if I may return to the war in Ukraine, because this is what influences all. We see the Putin's aggression very strongly. I mean, we are the country we have eastern border with Ukraine. I myself invested into the relationship with Ukraine before the war. I was in Ukraine for 3 times before the war, and we actually helped Ukraine to develop a program how to reform their country to become a member of EU. That's why we were promoting so strongly the candidate status of Ukraine, and I'm very glad that it worked out. It is a little miracle because there wasn't as much hope in the beginning, but I think the example of Slovakia also helped other leaders in Europe to see that there is a way. Because Slovakia itself went through a process of transformation, went the journey toward becoming a member of European Union, and we wouldn't be successful, I think, if we wouldn't receive the help of the European countries, of the members of European Union, and also of the countries of NATO on the way to NATO. And I myself remember very well how we didn't have to reinvent the wheel, because we were given the advice, we were given the right tools to implement. And this is where Ukraine is right now in the position. They welcome any help from the European member countries with open arms. They actually ask us, come and help us. And that's why I think it's not only our responsibility, but it's also our great opportunity to enlarge Europe and bring freedom, bring prosperity into much more countries in Europe who are willing to have this and who are asking for it. So we see as a direct neighbor that the Putin's war in Ukraine is killing many civilians. It's really a brutal war, because we thought that the 21st century, and we wished that the 21st century will be a century of peace. We in Europe, or the democratic countries, we are countries and we are a community of peace. And when I speak to Volodymyr Zelensky, he wants peace. He wants peace to all his citizens of his country. That's why we need to help them in any possible way. Humanitarian help is the first one, but we need to help them to protect their territory. I think one of the values in democracy, as I said, is freedom and rule of law. And that means that we believe that they deserve their territorial integrity. That's why we supply them with the weapons. When we were very glad that we could provide them the system S-300. But I have to appreciate also the help of our allies within the NATO, where Germany was one of them, who provided us immediately their help with their air defense system. This is the bondage of partnership and friendship that is being present right now among the countries in NATO and European Union. That helped us to provide stronger help to Ukraine. And I think this is the direction. We cannot allow ourselves in Europe to become tired of helping Ukraine. We invested a lot, and we are not there yet. I still believe that Ukraine will win, and with our help. They are the ones who need to say what it exactly means, and they will. But we are there to help them because we care for their people, but we care also for the whole security of the region. We must admit that Ukraine is important for the security aspect of the whole region, not just Central Europe region, for the region of Europe. So therefore, it's important for us to coordinate and to work fast and to work intensively on this process. And on the other hand, it's very important that we provide also the countries of Western Balkans, Moldavia and others, the help with the reforms that are needed for them to meet the criteria to become members of European Union. And what we say, based on our experience, it's their effort that's going to decide when is it going to be finished. Because we are able and willing to help, and they are willing and able to perform. And with this combination, I think we will see, again, results that we maybe didn't expect, but the last 2 years showed us that the European Union can act very swiftly. And as we saw during the pandemic, the European Union was able to decide within months and weeks, and during the war, European Union, 27 governments, 27 parliaments, were able to decide within days and hours. So unity is a strong instrument for quick decisions in big issues, and I think this is the way forward. Once again, thank you very much for this invitation and for this very open and constructive discussion. We discussed the mutual connections, but we discussed also the future of Europe. And last thing I will add, that of course we have to face that reform, that European Union must reform itself. This is the topics that we're discussing among the leaders at the European Council in several areas: financing, the long-term sustainability of our budgets, of our public finances is a very important issue that we have to face in the upcoming months and years. But also the foreign policy. It's also very important because the decisions and the discussions about the security of this region will take place very soon, and Europe must have a strong voice because we must be a strong leader, as I said. And also defense and security, it's another area where we have to do our homework and look at the architecture, how we're going to defend our territory. And we see the good example of the enhanced forward presence, the mixed units, the multinational units that we see on the eastern flank. We see that this cooperation works very well, but it's also a strong sign to the threat that we are capable to protect our territory. So these are the areas where we need to work on the reforms, and I see others, but this is for the beginning. Thank you very much once again for the invitation.